I'm Tyson O'Connell, and can you all hear me? Yes. I don't do microphones very well. I'm with Wish Camper Development Partners and Wish Rock Group in Missoula, and I'm excited to be here today for the Lincoln Tower groundbreaking. I have the honor of introducing a fantastic group of presenters. And as I was preparing comments for today, I'm not just going to introduce you because I need to give a little bit of history. This project was built in around 1980 by Larry Lunt, whose family owned this land for many years before it became affordable housing. You'll hear a little bit from Larry later. And it was purchased in July by Wish Camper Development Partners. And as you'll see today, we're planning/doing some major renovations. When the project's completed next fall, 100% of the units, the community space, the common areas and office will have been gutted and renovated and modernized with efficient upgrades. You'll get to see a little bit of these today. You'll see both before and afters. This is a groundbreaking, but it's also a work in progress, so you'll get to see a little bit of that. In total, over $4 million in improvements will take place thanks to the programs that we've used and many of you today. And I'd like to start just by thanking some of these people. First of all, I'd like to thank the residents. Many of you are here today, and I want to thank you for bearing with us throughout this process. This is an occupied rehab, which is oftentimes easier said than done. And thank you very much for all of you residents for doing this. I also want to make sure that everyone understands we're doing over $4 million in improvements, but the rent for the residents won't increase at all. So we're really happy with the existing HAP contract here and the extended affordability that we've agreed to keep on the property. And it's fantastic to have this in Sugarhouse. I'd also like to thank Key Property Management, who manages the property. And you've done a great job rolling up your sleeves. I know that it's really hard because you're doing your job that you had before, and you're also doing a bunch of other jobs while we do this rehab. So thank you very much to Zach, Emily, Luana, Shelley, and Dave. Thank you to Utah Housing Corporation. They were really the catalyst for this. They awarded us $4.8 million in federal low-income housing tax credits. Claudia O'Grady of Utah Housing will be speaking later today, and I think Suzette's here as well. Thank you for believing in WDP and helping us preserve 95 units of affordable housing in Sugarhouse. Thank you to Enterprise and Key Bank, and specifically Irina Edwards, who is not here today. She's at AHF Live, but she was key person in introducing me to a number of you who I didn't know, since this is our first project here. You're also going to hear from Catherine Canter, the Deputy Mayor of Salt Lake County. Salt Lake County contributed $900,000 in home funds to this project, and thank you to Randy Jefferson, who's here. You believed in this right from the very start, from the very first meeting that we had, and you never wavered, so thank you very much. And last, I'd like to thank the city of Salt Lake. Mayor Jackie Upski is here today speaking. She'll be speaking a little bit later. She's focused on providing affordable housing. And because of the $1.3 million in city housing trust funds, we're happy to be part of the solution for Salt Lake. I also want to thank Hand and the other people in the city, specifically Bailey White. I worked closely with Bailey for many months. She was fantastic. We'd originally planned to use Olene Walker funds on this, and Olene Walker ran out of money. And when you have a project that's almost completed from the financing standpoint and that happens, it's difficult. So it was either wait and put things on hold, or Bailey was proactive and she helped us and reviewed our underwriting and actually helped restructure our trust loan. So thank you very much, Bailey. I also want to thank the county, Utah Housing, and the city, because you were really easy to work with. We've worked in 17 different states, and that's not always the case. Everybody says that, but sometimes I scratch my head and say, are you really trying to provide affordable housing? Is this really what you want to do? This is our first project here. I didn't know any of these people a year ago, and it's amazing what people can do when they come together and they really want to accomplish something. And we closed this project in record time, and we were already well into our renovation. So thank you very much. I also need to thank Headwaters and Method. This is our first project with Method. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you very much. This is our third project with Headwaters. I'm surprised they keep wanting to do projects with us because we don't make it easy, but they do it. So thank you, Headwaters. Preservation of affordable housing is very tricky, and we really appreciate you as a partner. And last, I want to recognize the WDP people, Lauren, Kelly, and Ryan. You've all played critical roles throughout this. You know how hard it is to make this happen, and we really appreciate it. So now I've been long-winded, but I hope I thanked most of the people that I needed to, and if I missed you, you still deserve to be thanked. Thank you very, very much. There were 31 people on our last closing call for this project. So it just shows how many people need to come together to make something like this happen, and thank you very much. So now I get to introduce our wonderful speakers. I'm going to start with Claudia O'Grady, who is the Vice President of Multifamily Housing at Utah Housing Corporation. Claudia has been involved in many varied aspects of affordable multifamily housing throughout her career. She started as the Executive Director of a Utah nonprofit organization where she worked on the development of many rental units. And after 10 years on the development side, she joined Homestead Capital, a syndicator. And for the last 10 years, she's been the Vice President of Multifamily Financing at Utah Housing Corp. And we really appreciate working with Claudia. And she also wanted me to say, for inexplicable reasons, she's a devout Buckeyes fan. And this is their year, and she actually might be right, so I will have to say. So Claudia, can you please start us off?
Thank you. All right, that was a little embarrassing. Nonetheless, go Buckeyes. I just want to say briefly that Utah Housing Corporation is honored to be a partner to this project and work with the Whisk Camper Group. As Tyson mentioned, this is their first development here in Utah, and we hope that it's not their last. Working with them has been just a dream. They are a developer who they do what they say they're going to do, and then they go even beyond to do more. They're very concerned about the residents who live here at Lincoln Tower, and the plans that they have in place to improve the units are phenomenal. And that's what the community here in Salt Lake, all of the residents of affordable housing, that's what they deserve. Everybody deserves a beautiful, warm, comfortable, safe place to live. And Whisk Camper is going to provide that here at Lincoln Tower. So for Utah Housing Corporation's part, we provided the $4.8 million of low-income housing tax credits, which then are sold to an investor. We work with phenomenal partners, including Enterprise and Key Bank, Salt Lake County, Salt Lake City, and we play our role. And we're very honored to be just one of many players in this development, and we thank you for allowing us to participate.
Thank you, Claudia. Our next speaker is Catherine Canter, and Catherine Canter is the Deputy Mayor of Regional Operations at Salt Lake County, where she oversees public works and offices of emergency management, landfill, economic development, housing, regional planning, transportation, housing and environmental sustainability. That is a lot. Prior to her position at Salt Lake County, she served as the Executive Director and Campaign Manager for a successful statewide ballot initiative, Better Boundaries / Proposition 4, and she previously practiced law for over a decade at a law firm in Chicago, where she held the position of equity partner and specialized in commercial real estate transactions. So please join me in welcoming Catherine Canter.
Good morning, everyone. As Tyson mentioned, I'm Deputy Mayor Catherine Canter from Salt Lake County, and Mayor Wilson was disappointed that she couldn't be here with us today, and she sends her regrets. But I'm honored to have the opportunity to attend this event in her stead on this momentous day. I once heard Mayor Wilson say that our county should be judged on how we treat people, particularly how we treat our senior population. Salt Lake County's Aging and Adult Services Division already provides many services to seniors throughout the county through our senior centers, our Meals on Wheels program, and so much more. So it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone at how thrilled we are to see a project like this that specifically targets an acute need within our community. We know we have an affordable housing crisis. And for those on fixed incomes, this crisis can be even more daunting. Rents are going up at an alarming rate. But our seniors should not have to choose between rent, food, medication, and other basic needs. That is why a project like this is so critically important to the continuing well-being of our community. With its 95 affordable housing units, the Lincoln Tower Apartments will provide a safe and affordable place for one of our most vulnerable constituencies to live a full life. Salt Lake County is proud to have teamed up with Salt Lake City and the Utah Housing Corporation to work collectively on this endeavor, and we remain extraordinarily grateful to HUD for their generous $900,000 grant of home funds for this project. But please know that today is just the beginning of good things to come. At Salt Lake County, we will continue to pursue opportunities for even more aid for this community through legislative efforts at the state, county, and federal level. And before I wrap up, I do want to acknowledge our fabulous staff. As Tyson mentioned, we don't just talk about affordable housing and housing services, we actually do it. And I want to recognize Mike Gallegos and Randy, who's already been mentioned today. And Randy, is it your birthday? Yesterday was Randy's birthday. Happy birthday, Randy. So with that, I will wrap up by wishing Tyson and the Wish Camper development team well as they work to continue to meet the hopes and the dreams of the residents of Lincoln Tower Apartments. Thank you all.
I next have the pleasure of introducing Larry Lunt, who he's an amazing person. He also has the honor of being our favorite seller. We've bought multiple projects from Larry, and we've built a great relationship with him. He's an amazing person. It would take me hours to go through his entire bio, but I'm just gonna tell you, after 36 years of service, Larry retired as a brigadier general from the U.S. Air Force, and he received a BS and a Juris Doctorate from the University of Utah. He served as Assistant Attorney General for Utah. He served as a member of the Utah House of Representatives, the chairman of the Utah Republican Party, and he's married to Susan Child Lunt, who he's been married to for over 50 years. They have 6 children, 25 grandchildren. So I'm going to let you give Larry a little bit of history today.
So I was born on where that driveway is 76 years ago. My grandfather owned Petty Ford. Petty Ford was located on this corner. I want you to vision what it was like here 76 years ago. It was the perfect place for a child to grow up. And I lived here until I was 12 years old. Across the street was Snowgrove's Ice Cream. On the other side was the first D's Hamburger. And then Grand Central was there. Dunford's Bakery was down half a block down 9th East. New Crisp Popcorn here. The Marlowe Theater was a block this way. The Southeast Theater was 2 blocks this way. And the only thing that's still here today, and the Forest School, the elementary school, is right on the corner. And so it was a great place to live. And I have sweet memories. Well, subsequently, my grandfather passed away, and the family decided they needed to have more space. They moved the dealership out into further south, and so this property became for sale. And so I was getting at the age where I thought it might be an interesting thing to try some development. And so Parley's Creek runs right through this driveway. And so nobody wanted it. What can you do with Parley's Creek? Well, we got some good ideas. Even then we had good ideas. And we built this building and put Parley's Creek in a conduit. So it goes down and put this building on pilings. And about 40 years ago, or 39 years ago, we had an occasion similar to this when this building was the first ground cutting, ribbon cutting was. Well, anyway, fast forward now, and you can see how Sugarhouse has changed. And I think it's good. Change, we always have to accept change, but I still come here and I still can reminisce, and I like that also. I appreciate being able to work with Tyson and Whisk. I think they're great people, and the cities and the county's been wonderful. We've had a great relationship for now almost 39 years as we've run this. And by the way, I just will conclude by saying we're still dedicated to affordable housing. My family has an option to buy this property back in 15 years after the tax credit holding period is, because we want to be here, and we're excited to see what they're doing and see the great things that are happening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Larry. Okay, last but not least, we have Mayor Jackie Upski. Did I do better that time? Close? Biskupski.
You sound like a reporter.
I do. I'm sorry. I don't want to be a reporter. She took office as Salt Lake City Mayor on January 4th, 2016, and her career includes 13 years as a member of the Utah House of Representatives, where she made history as the state's first openly gay elected official. Her top priorities include economic development, homelessness, air quality, affordable housing, and creating an exclusive and welcoming city. Under her leadership, Salt Lake City has adopted a plan to be powered by 100% clean energy by 2032, with an 80% reduction in carbon output by 2040. She's focused on building a city that fosters equity, opportunity, and hope for everyone. And she's worked throughout her career to mentor others, particularly young women in politics, public policy, and leadership. She's also a Minnesota native. I wanted to give a shout out to that because I went to college in Minnesota. She came here 26 years ago for a ski trip, fell in love with the outdoors, and she never left. And she shares her life with her wife, Betty Iverson, and her two sons, Archie and Jack. So please welcome Mayor Jackie.
Well, Tyler, I'm just going to tell you that part of the secret sauce of working with people in Utah are the leading ladies at the state, the county, and the city level. So you might want to share that sauce with some other communities. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. For most of us, our home extends beyond the walls we live inside of. Our home is the community around us, our neighbors, the stores we shop at, and the parks we stroll in, and the restaurants and the cafes we frequent. There is no question that Lincoln Tower and the residents who call this place home are a part of the fabric of Sugarhouse and Salt Lake City. One of the tenets of the city's affordable housing plan, Growing SLC, is to ensure that Salt Lake City can be a place for anyone who wants to call this home at every stage of their life. We want to ensure that those who started their lives here, like Mr. Lunt, literally, built careers and created families here, can stay here during their golden years. By updating Lincoln Tower in a manner that preserves affordability for our residents, Salt Lake City is truly helping to build a city for everyone. As mayor, I am happy the city could help facilitate the renovation project using funding from the city's Funding Our Future initiative, which this community supported a year and a half ago. Our Housing Trust Fund has granted a $1.3 million low-interest loan for this project, funding which will ensure that these units remain affordable for half a century. So thank you again for your partnership. Thank you for believing in us and the work that we are doing. I know it's not easy, but we'll get through this together. Thank you, everyone.